Come on now. There we go. All right. So today I have Sebastian. I'm not pronouncing your last name because I'm going to butcher it. Malden?
No, it's all good. Yeah.
I got one. I'm actually really bad at this. And then you have a podcast called...
Hi, I'm Sebastian. You can reach me at like Sebastian at SDM3 on all social media platforms. My podcast is called The Pro Nerd Report. It's a very nerd-centric podcast where we cover everything involving anime, movies, TV shows, and of course, video games. We give you all that sweet and spicy nerdy goodness that you actually love to hear. So if you are interested in any of those topics or just love to hear some dope conversations centered around all things nerdy, check out The Pro Nerd Report.
All right. And that can be found on all podcast platforms?
All podcast platforms around the globe. So,
all right. So today we've got an article listed here. It is from CNBC. GameStop fires its CFO and announces layoffs as part of an aggressive turnaround plan. So essentially, the CFO is fired because they wanted to take a hands-off approach and was looking at mass layoffs. And she'll be a new Diana Jahaji. I can't pronounce last names like that. Will be taking over as a CFO, and she's starting off with a $200,000 salary, but is also eligible for a transformation bonus for almost $2 million. And you wonder why GameStop is not doing well. Like, that seems a little inappropriate for somebody to just, all right, you're new. Here's all this money, make it work. But what do you think about all the layoffs that are going on with that too? Because I think that if I'm scrolling down some more, they're planning on laying off 600 employees over 18 months. Is that right?
Yeah, and from what I hear, that's going to be just the start of it. There's going to be another round of layovers from like other news outlets from what they're saying. But I think the big takeaway from this story is the fact that they're doing these layoffs and doing like the layoffs for GameStop and for Game Informer, primarily to launch and like expand into the NFT market, which I think leaves a bad taste in most people's mouths for sure, because all these people like lost their jobs just so this company can dive deeper into NFTs, something that, you know, like gamers and a lot of nerds just frown at in general. So,
and an NFT, for those that don't know, is a non-fungible token. Is that right? Yes. I don't know a whole lot about NFTs. I just know that they're usually dressed like monkeys or something. I really, that's as far as I know about the NFT scam shit. Oh, that reminds me. Ubisoft put NFTs in their games, right?
Yeah, they're trying to make their transition into it. You know, like rumor is that like Skull and Bones might be like one of the first like games that actually like dive deeper into that market. It's the new pirate centric game that they had like a showcase on that very recently. So
yeah, and I've been waiting for that game for like 10 years now.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's been in development hell for a very long time.
Yeah, it has. Assassin's Black Flag, probably one of the best Assassin's Creed.
Oh, I will like strike back and say that I love Odyssey. I think Black Flag is like a really good game, but I found all like Odyssey to be like vast and compelling. I love that like Greek culture mixed in with like the more like more RPG elements. So I think like that really like stood out to me. Right. I'd probably pick it over like Black Flag, to be honest.
All right. All I do know is we probably can both agree that Valhalla flopped hard.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like it was out. I think Twitch had it up for like #1 for like a week, and then it just bottomed out completely. Just nobody watched it or anything. I'm gonna look this up right now. I'm gonna go to Twitch and see how many people are streaming it.
I'd probably put like a good 60 hours into Valhalla. I think Valhalla is a solid game, but I don't think it had any like staying power. I don't think it had nowhere near the highs of like Odyssey or even like the rich story that what was it? The one right before Odyssey, Origins had. Yeah.
Origins was actually a really good story.
It was a solid story. It was a solid story, and it was a good introduction to like their RPG elements. So I think
Right.
Origins is a slept-on game, and if you are interested into that, it is now available on Game Pass. So
Yeah.
check that out if you want to.
So it is currently almost 7 o'clock Central Time, and there is.
Mhm.
You want to take a guess how many streamer or how many viewers on Valhalla right now?
Ooh, I'm gonna say 150.
You are so close.
Ah.
189.
Oh, I was close.
Now let's do Assassin's Creed. What was it? Origin or
Origins,
Odyssey?
yeah. Odyssey, yeah. Both. I think Origins is probably gonna have more than Odyssey since it's now on Game Pass.
Okay, we'll do Origins first. Assassin's Creed Origin. 82 viewers.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds about right.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I'm not seeing it in the list.
That's my point. I think like Game Pass, that's the power of Game Pass right there.
199 viewers.
Oh,
So it's got Valhalla beat by a little bit.
yeah. But yeah, I think that's a good like tail of the tape that like Odyssey is probably the best out of the 3 RPG Assassin's Creed games.
Right. Where was Assassin's Creed Black Flag? 46.
That's good for a game that old though.
That is true. That
That
game's
is massively
roughly
old
11
now.
years old.
Yeah.
That's
So I'm like,
great.
that's really good for a game that ancient.
Right. And this is why I say things diverge into different conversations.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So what do you think about the GameStop layoffs and the NFT like transition?
I think the NFTs are a tax kind of, or not tax, but like a write-in program for companies to spend crap things into their games to try and help combat the loot box mechanic stuff or surprise mechanics if you're EA employees. But didn't Ubisoft like say the NFTs are here to stay? They're going to be permanent. You can take them with you to any game from here on whatnot. I think I'm misquoting it.
Yeah, their messaging has been a little like clouded because there was some like backstalling. They kind of like got on the back foot about like their NFT like expansion. So, but they didn't say it's not going away. So I'm like, it's kind of mixed messaging there.
Right. And then they just come through and took away how many games recently?
They took away like I think it was close to 12 games, but again, I think they like backtracked on those. They said that like based on like public like reception and like public response for all that kind of like drama that happened with that, because a lot of people were pissed that their like older games were no longer going to be playable. So I think they like backtracked about that this week.
From PC Gamer here, Ubisoft to pull online from older games, which also takes away your DLC. And that was 14 days ago. And I'm looking for an update here. And 5 days ago, Ubisoft confirms from Games Radar Plus, only DLC and online features will be affected by Steam delisting.
Yeah.
So
they kind of half backtracked on that.
Yeah. No, I don't want to pay Game Radar. Go away. I don't know. That's just wrong in so many different ways. Oh, here's one. Forbes magazine. Ubisoft says Steam DLC removal is a misunderstanding. Ubisoft statement to IGN says that the misunderstanding of the storefront information is wrong. As stated in our article, only the online features DLC is affected. So it's not wrong that they're taking away someone's property because you pay for the DLC, you have it.
Yeah.
And if it's still installed, they're still taking it away. It seems a little odd.
It is a little like, it is a very like weird situation. And yeah, I don't think this is one of the things I've been saying for a little while is that I think Ubisoft like needs a different direction. I think both games and like their public perception is starting to hit EA territory, and I think they need to turn it around.
That's a pretty low bar.
It is, but like if you look at their games for the last 5 years, and let's be honest with ourselves, like when's the last time they had a game of the year contender, like a hard contender come out?
That's true. I mean, I said that Far Cry 6 and Assassin's Creed Valhalla felt too much the same.
Oh, I believe both of those franchises have like now plateaued. I think they've hit their like peak and they're starting to go downhill now.
Well, I meant like the UI looks the same. The way the
Mhm.
game grinds is the same. You got equipment spaces for each different thing. Like a lot of it is the same. It feels the same.
I
Like
mean, if you
go
really want to
here,
be
unlock
honest,
this area. Go there, unlock that area. You're not strong enough to go to this area. Like that's how it
if you're
feels.
if you want to be like honest, Watch Dogs is among those as well. Like
Yeah.
it is another game that is very much that Ubisoft open map, like just
Yeah.
basically like check off the list of things to do sort of like game. And that's what I said. I feel like they need a new direction.
Oh yeah. And isn't their CEO the reason to blame for that?
I think it's a little bit mixture between like CEO and shareholders. Like, so I think that I don't think it's like just a one person problem, or I think that'd be like more easily solvable. Like, I think that
Right.
is like, the shareholders know that those games are at least going to sell regardless of like public perception.
Well, luckily, 3 weeks ago, the Ubisoft CEO is taking a large pay cut, according to IGN.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because of disappointing sales turnout. And it looks like the investors are forcing him to take it. Oh no, he's voluntarily taking
He's voluntarily taking it, from my understanding. Yeah.
$327,000.
Yeah. But, and I think that's like what from what we were talking about earlier with the GameStop like CFO and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
that is a massively low salary for like someone in, like high corporate America, especially like one of these businesses that regardless of GameStop's like downhill slope is still like a high corporated business in America. So I'm like, that's one of those things to where like $200,000 is a lot of money for me and you, but like for like
Yeah.
a person in that position, that is a low bar salary.
So here we go. EA CEO makes $20 million a year.
Exactly.
And that was this year, 2022. And so
Mhm.
this guy is taking a pay cut of, he's taking $327,000 from his paycheck.
Mhm.
So it doesn't really say how much he actually makes in this article from IGN.
No, and it could be upwards of like 800,000 to anywhere from
Right.
15 million. So at
He's
that
not
point,
hurting. Like
no,
he's
for
not
sure
hurting.
not. For sure not. I guarantee he's probably still six figures. So
Oh, definitely. Especially if he's
yeah.
got bonuses still.
Mhm.
Like that's pretty outlandish. Oh, speaking of outlandish things, let's switch gears and talk about the EA Unity. CEO apologizes for the idiot comment about devs. Unity CEO John, how would you pronounce that? Riccatello?
Riccatello. Mhm.
Riccatello? Okay. Apologizes for crude remarks against video game developers in a recent interview and says he will listen and will do better. But the mugshot they picked said, fuck you.
It did. It
That
is very
mugshot
much
is bad.
yeah, it is very much like a Succession. Have you seen that show? It's like that very
No.
like arrogant like CEO kind of like vibe there.
It kind of looks okay. This mugshot looks like it should be meme worthy. Like
Mhm.
when you leave firecrackers in the porta potty and someone walks in, like that face is what the face you should have. So the crude remarks, what was it exactly he said? He mentioned in the most recent interview with Pocket Gamer, the Unity CEO, formerly CEO of EA, called the developers who don't implement, it almost looks like molestation, but it's just monetization options early in their games, the most beautiful and pure, brilliant people, but also some of the biggest fucking idiots. And then he walked that back to some degree. And I'm looking at his Twitter page here. If I had been smarter in choosing my words, I would have just said he concludes, adding that idiot comment as a sentence I wish I had never said. So some of the biggest fucks, is that what he was trying to say, I guess?
Yeah, he was saying they're like dumb for not, going towards the monetization aspect of like, like microtransaction the shit out of the
Right.
games,
Right.
basically, loot boxing everything. But I agree with his first half of the statement. Like, I think there are the most like beautiful and pure and brilliant people out there for keeping their games, like a pure just game experience.
Like Elden Ring.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And if you list like some of like the games listed in the article, like Star Wars Jedi Survivor or like Star Wars Fallen Order, like no microtransactions in that game. Like everything
Right.
you want from that game is like completely in it. So I think that's noble. Like I think like those developers should be given kudos for not wanting to like exploit us for every dime that we basically got. Yeah. And so I'm like,
Yeah, you're not
I
wrong.
think the first half of that statement is like a good thing. That it's just the back half where he called them like effing idiots, for not having microtransactions and
Oh
like
yeah.
exploitive like functions in their game. So
I remember, okay, I'm 31. I remember the
mhm,
biggest uproar when Oblivion
mhm,
had that elven glass horse armor as a
yeah,
DLC for $12, and the community was outraged. But now they're like, oh yeah, you can buy a loot box for $6. You might get something good. And they're like, oh, okay, I guess I'm good. Like,
we've become too accepting of this. Like you're right, because yeah, we threw a fit about DLC like when it first came out. I'm also 31, so I remember
all
like
right.
when DLC was just like a major thing, up and coming like game mechanic that everyone was just so up in arms about, and we just
Right.
became numb to it, and like no one cared. And then they went further with like loot boxes and all those kinds of stuff, and like it's become so bad that like some games are unplayable. Like you generally
Without
like
the
general,
DLC.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like you will lose that competitive edge, or like you will absolutely be slaughtered if you don't like pay extra. Like NBA 2K is a game you cannot play basically, yeah, without you having to spend extra money, or else you're just gonna get slaughtered. And
Right.
that's a damn shame.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because, you take skill based games like, I almost said Call of Duty, but there's such a
Hmm.
huge meta with it. Like, no guns are built equal and it's
Hmm.
terrible. But like Rocket League or something, Rocket League is a pure skill based game
Yeah.
and they have microtransactions, but they're skins.
Hmm.
Nothing about it changes the gameplay besides how you look.
Yeah,
And
purely cosmetic.
that's kind of where we kind of came in with like, okay, this is acceptable. But then you got different things like, remember Halo 2 DLC map disc,
Hmm.
that $15 game disc for new
Oh
maps?
god. Yeah.
That was the earliest DLC.
Yeah.
And nobody had an issue with it because it's like, I get more maps. I've been
Hmm.
waiting for this.
Yeah, we're in the same cycle with Halo Infinite where we're waiting for more maps, basically.
Oh my God. I can't play the multiplayer. I get way too heated. I
Mhm.
get way too heated.
I
Where
understand
were
that
you with the
completely.
flag? I was right behind you. Obviously, you weren't. I
I
can't play
love
with my
that game,
friends.
but yeah, I'm like you. Like it feels very competitive, and I'm very like
Uh,
I'm a competitive person. Like I want to be in the game and I want to win. So I do get like fully involved into it.
do you remember? This is gonna be way off topic. Do you remember the game Evolved? Did you ever
I
play
don't
that
remember
game?
Evolved.
Okay, so Evolved was a Dead by Daylight style game where you've
Okay.
got four people and then you got one monster.
Hmm.
The four people were like different classes. Like you had soldier, hunter, trapper, and healer. Those were
Okay.
the four classes to go against the monster. The monster had to evolve 3 times and then attack some kind of generator or something, and the people had to
Hmm.
defend it. My buddy Doug, fuck you, Doug. He's like, I know what we can do to make this interesting. We'll make the hunters have so much extra health and revive speed and all this other stuff that Steve won't have a chance to win. Well, after about a week, I started winning. And then it turned out, oh shit, we can't stop him. Like I got so we played a regular game without all the timers, and I got so used to them getting back up in like a moment's notice that I just would not give them a chance. And like,
Just
okay,
ground them into the
you
ground.
can't play monster anymore, Steve. You're too
Mhm.
good at it. You made me this.
Yeah, they turned you into that beast, basically.
And I use that same fallacy like in Rocket League sometimes. Like I just
Mhm.
the have you ever played it?
Yeah. Hmm.
Okay, so like when you see somebody with a different skill gap, you immediately know they've earned it. I can't win.
Yeah, for
They
sure.
earned it.
For sure.
That's kind of how I did. I hit Rocket League hard. I went almost
Mhm.
4 months watching every YouTube videos, practicing an hour a day on the backflips, the everything. And we just stopped playing, and I went back to it and go, I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh no,
Like, I
it
don't
is
know.
like it's not muscle memory in the sense that like you will lose that skill if you don't practice.
Oh yeah.
Basically.
I've gotten pretty good at getting back to where I was. Like I could almost do a ceiling shot again.
Hmm.
Almost, but I'm low diamond, high platinum area.
Hmm.
So I'm not the best, but I can make it entertaining.
Yeah, yeah,
My
that's pretty
buddy,
dope.
my buddy though, he's a goalie, Carl. He's
Hmm.
always a goalie. I can't get a shot past him now.
That is crazy.
He's too good as a goalie.
That is insanely good because like man, it's like one thing to be like like a forward in that game to where you're
Oh
actually
yeah.
trying to score. It's another thing to prevent someone from scoring in that game. It's a skill all of its own.
I remember telling Doug again,
Hmm.
because he's a really good attacker, but he's also really good at being in your way because he doesn't look at
Hmm.
the rest of the map. So here I am playing center while he's playing forward. And I'm also backup goalie and a backup striker. Like, so my whole play style changed based on like who I'm playing with.
Yeah,
Like
for
if I'm
sure.
playing duos, I don't have to worry about behind me because Carl's got
Mm-mm.
it.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sure you
He's
got some
basically
friends
Fort
like
Knox
that.
back there. Yeah.
Oh, there's sometimes I will come up the wall and knock it towards him. I'm like, Carl, shoot it. And he's like, why are you at the goal? It's our goal. Like, they won't see it coming. And he ends up hitting it and gets a goal. He's like, how do you know this stuff? I'm like, well, you know.
That is dope. That is like that's practice, and that's also like being so familiar with like the game that you just know it in and out at that point. Like that is god tier like Rocket League play right there.
Oh, maybe I should start streaming it more often, but I still I just play it for funsies.
Yeah, man. As long as you're enjoying it, that's what matters, though.
Right? Until you get absolutely defeated by somebody who just lost like 10 rounds in a row and
Yeah,
like
that
lose their
sucks.
rank. Because like I'm actually a grandmaster fighting against some platinums.
Hmm.
Destroyed. Just
That sucks.
it's
That
terrible.
sucks. But like you're gonna have like good and bad games in Rocket
Oh,
League. So
absolutely.
yeah, yeah,
Absolutely. It's like PUBG.
it really is.
Oh man. So let's talk about the games upcoming.
Okay.
I'm looking at the August lineup because July is
So
almost done.
hold on. Before you go to like
Oh
August, though, we
shit, what
do
I
have
miss?
like a big like a semi big game if you're a PlayStation gamer. I'd shout out Stray. And then like if you're an Xbox gamer, we do have Forza Horizon 5, like the Hot Wheels DLC coming out later.
Yeah, but that's a DLC, and I don't
Yeah,
think
yeah.
Forza 5's really got much going for it. I
No,
really
no,
don't.
no. But if we're starting in August, what do you want to start with?
Uh Man, I don't even know most of these. I know the Spiderman Remastered is going to be pretty hot topic thing, but it's only for PC, so like I don't really see it being that good.
I think like one of the big takeaways we need to like talk about for like Spider-Man Remastered is the fact like PlayStation releases a remaster for these games right before the sequel is about to launch. So it coming out kind of gives us an indication that Spider-Man 2 is like closer to being done than they're talking about. Because
Oh,
like
okay.
yeah, so I think they did the same thing, kind of similar thing with like God of War Horizon and other games like that. So like I think this is a good indication that like Spider-Man 2 is like on the door. It's on track for 2023.
Good.
And yeah, so I think that's a good thing to take away from that. But I think like a game in August, like especially early August, is Cult of the Lamb that everyone needs to watch out for because I have a prediction that this is going to be like Hades or like Death's Door, and that it's going to be like the indie game that kind of takes over the gaming industry for like maybe the 4 months, 4 to 5 months. Like this
Right.
game is probably going to win awards at the Game Awards this year.
And for those of you who don't know, Cult of the Lamb kind of looks like a cutesy Hades game.
Yeah, it is very much the same kind of gameplay as like Hades, but then you also have like I guess you could say it's like you're building your own village a la Animal Crossing kind of like dynamic to it. So like you go out and you rescue like followers and then you kind of like give them tasks to like do in the village. You kind of have to keep them like appease because you're like their deity as well. Like they
Oh.
consider you like their cult leader, so to speak.
Yeah.
So it is
Alright.
all encompassing, like, roguelike, but like also you're like a village manager kind of game. And I think like people are gonna like fall in love with that.
Oh yeah, because I mean, look at how many times Stardew Valley's released with new
Oh yeah,
stuff.
for
Like
sure.
Stardew Valley is still popular, and that game's
For
been out
sure.
forever.
For sure. I think the only big like AAA release that's coming out in August though is probably going to be Saints Row, the reboot.
Oh yeah, but even then, like, unless they don't, if unless they keep that purple dildo weapon, I don't think Saints Row will actually do very good because that'll be
I
the topic. Is like they took away our only fun.
I agree with you though. Like I think like Saints Row as an IP is not necessarily going to do as well in 2022 that it did like in the 2000s and early 2010s.
All
So
right.
yeah, I'm a little concerned with that game. I think that game's going to kind of come and go, maybe get like 6 or 7 out of 10s out of like the IGNs and GameSpots of the world. But other than that, I don't see this just like blowing anyone away.
Right. What was this one here? Immortality. I haven't seen this one yet. Oh, it's delayed apparently.
Yeah, I think that got delayed to like 2023.
Okay. I've never heard of
But
this one before, but I just seen it on there.
no, rumor has it. I think we got like an early like clip of it on one of the game conferences like a couple of years ago, but I think it went silent after that. So
All
probably
right.
still early in development.
Isn't there also oh wait, that's not in August. That's right. There's another game
Mhm.
coming out. Uh that's probably gonna take a lot of things by storm, and that's gonna be uh the Bethesda Space Fair game. What the hell is it called?
Oh, you're talking about Starfield.
Yeah, Starfield.
Starfield, yeah, it got delayed into 2023. Now
That's
it's like
right.
it's
That's right.
Q1 2023. Todd Howard, during the Xbox conference a couple of weeks ago, like, and fully put that game on display. For better or for worse, whatever you think about it, it is very much a Todd Howard, like Fallout, Skyrim in space kind of game. So
Yeah.
it's still in that same engine. So if you love that engine, you're gonna love this game. It is
And all
very
this
much.
bugginess.
Well, yeah, I think my biggest like fault with that engine is it's starting to like show its age a little bit now. Like,
Right. That's what they did with
yeah,
Halo. They completely
yeah,
stripped Halo's engine and then made
Infinite.
Infinity or Infinite. Yeah, I can talk.
I
They put a whole new engine on it, and that's what they did. They built it from the ground up, and that's what the
think that's what
slip
they need to do
space.
with like Bethesda games going forward, because I think that janky Fallout and janky like Skyrim like mobility and engine is finally coming to like an end. We're finally seeing that this is the peak of where it can go. Like we need something new going forward. But I
Oh
do
yeah,
like what they showed of Starfield, like as far as like gameplay and the fact that you can craft your own like StarCraft, like you can actually
yeah.
make like your own Millennium Falcon if that's what you wish for. Like I think that's like genius, but I don't there's a lot of game like things about that game that strike me as like half baked, so to speak. Like,
Well, according to Todd Howard, it's not how you start; it's how you land. That's
yeah,
how. So I was
yeah.
like, yeah,
I think
that's
another thing that
promising.
another thing that people are going to like be off putted, like that's off putting to me at least, is the fact that like he said that we can go to 1,000 worlds in this game. Like he said, 1,000 worlds will be explorable. But are you going to have something to do in each one of those worlds?
Are you afraid of like a No Man's Sky situation?
I think like based on the crafting system that they heavily emphasized in that like trailer and like that gameplay, I think it's going to lean more heavily towards like No Man's Sky with like a Bethesda spin to it. Like I think on some of these like worlds we are going to have like side missions to actually explore, or like side like stories to explore. But I think the vast majority of this is going to be like a mining kind of game, and I don't think that's what a lot of people want from this kind of like style of game, to be
No,
honest.
I want to be able to raid a spaceship and take all their stuff. Like
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
Like fuck the mining jobs. I'll just go kill the miner.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's like if we really wanted that, we'd play No Man's Sky at this point. Like
Oh
I don't
yeah.
think that's necessarily what we'd want. And of like your next Bethesda Skyrim meets like Fallout in space, like Odyssey.
Yeah. I mean that was didn't Fallout 5 get announced? recently.
Fallout 5 got announced, but they said they're not going to work on it at all until after Starfield is out. So
Oh, that's right. Okay. And isn't
yeah,
that one based in London?
yeah, we really don't have very many details for it. Like, so if they said anything like as far as like where its setting is going to be at, I haven't heard anything.
Okay. I just thought I heard a rumor saying it was in London. I don't know for sure. But there is another game in October. October is where things get interesting.
Hold on.
Because
Before you go to October, are
Oh.
you going to skip September?
yes.
Whoa, like you have, so you don't think like Lord of the Rings Gollum is going to be interesting?
No.
No. What about
No.
the Last of Us remake?
Don't really care about The Last of Us 1 or 2. It's a trash game.
Whoa,
Dude, could
man.
not care less about those.
Wow.
It reminds me of the Walking Dead video games. All right, cool. Don't care.
Wow, man.
Hot take right here.
That is very hot. That is very hot take. I am flabbergasted right now. Man, just cooking The Last of Us.
No.
An absolute masterpiece. That is crazy.
Hey, look, you can make a golden trash can. Doesn't mean I'm still going to use it.
Man. So what were you saying in October?
I saw right off the bat in October was the Overwatch 2. I know that's when we're going to have a lot of gaming news coming out with Overwatch 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I'm not personally going to be looking forward to it, but Persona 5 is going to be pretty popular too.
I love Persona 5. Like, and Persona 5 Royal is like a all-encompassing, like all the DLCs included with Persona 5. I probably put 140 hours into Persona 5. So I think this is going to be huge. This is like the forbidden door opening for like, you know, Atlas. Yeah, I think it is. It's like the forbidden door opening for Atlas to like put some of their older stuff on other platforms. And I think this is going to be big for people who never actually played like Persona.
Yeah, I never played a Persona game.
And do you like turn-based games?
Yeah. Okay. I do.
So if you do like turn-based games, this is like an adult version of Pokemon with adult themes and like with a very hard but like light dynamic storyline. There is like a lot of like hard themes in this game, but there's like a light airiness to like some the way the characters portray themselves in a way.
Like
so
like heavy moral decisions or something?
In a way, like a lot of the big like heavy bosses that you're taking down are going to be like bosses that are dealing with like corporate greed or like also like assault. Like a lot, like one of the bosses in particular is very much like a, you know, he goes after like girls in high school. Like he is like a very bad person. And then another boss is like a completely bad person in another way. I'm not going to spoil the game, but like it is like a very hard, like there are hard themes in this game. There are like very real, like real life themes that they explore as far as like this is like how real bad people like actually act in the real world, and you have to take down these people.
Maybe I will play that game then.
I think you should. Like, I don't, if, let me phrase that. If you want like a Pokemon game that like aged with us, that has like older, more mature storylines, but also has that like turn-based kind of like you have to learn the system and learn like the different characters and the different creatures kind of mechanic, then this is the game for you. If you're not into that, like don't play this game.
As I was literally streaming Fire or Heart Gold not 2 hours ago.
Yeah. But this is also like if you're into like Fire Emblem, it has a Fire Emblem
Jesus
like
Christ.
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. I have to play this game now.
So yeah, it is very much like Fire Emblem in the sense that like you actually like get to like
grow with your
build relationships with characters. Yeah. And I think that's probably one of my favorite things about it is like you have an option of picking like who's your best girl, like or who's like or who's like your ride or die on the team, or like like they have it really is, because it's like anime style, you know, like who's best girl, but
picking my waifu.
That is very much what it is. It's very much what it is in a lot of different ways. Like, sure, you have like guys on the team, but like you get like options of hanging out with them. On the girl side of the fence thing, you get to put the Mac on them, like, and that's where like some of like the gameplay kind of ties into like the Fire Emblem-ness of it. Like as you like progress your relationship, they actually unlock like moves and unlock like team up moves and stuff like
Right.
that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think if you like that like fusion of between like Persona, between like Pokemon, and like between like like Fire Emblem, you're gonna love this game.
Okay. You know, that think of like the hard moral choices and whatnot. I come back to Ready or Not because
Mhm.
me and my buddy were playing and we were clearing out this room, and like this room is really dark, so we switched over to like flashlights, and the first thing we were greeted with was like children pornography up on the walls, and we're like, what is this? And we kept clearing the room, like, I don't feel comfortable here. I don't feel comfortable here at all. All right, cool, the room's clear, we're leaving. This room makes me so upset, and they're just everywhere on the walls. Like, this game is really holding my patience in check. Like, it really set home how bad these people are. Like,
that is crazy.
Like, it was the typical red light room with like the film and the water. Like, it was those kind of photos. Like, someone had to take their time to put them up there. Like, how did the developers not shoot themselves after doing this? Obviously, they're fake CGI, but like implied, like, I don't know about this. But we ended up finishing the mission. We ended up finishing the mission, yelling at every single one of them, like, the fucking perverts. We took no survivors the rest of the game. Because you can handcuff them and you get bonuses for bringing people back alive. No, handcuff, boom, done.
No forgiveness.
So how many dicks I could take? You lose this.
So in October, we also have like a Plague Tale Requiem. Are you interested in that?
I've played the Plague Tale once, and it was real interesting. I'm not going to say it was good. It was interesting. It's not my style, but I hear that Requiem is played differently.
Okay, so this is going to be a controversial subject for you because like Requiem like strikes me as more of like it's that same storyline but with the Last of Us gameplay, as far as like The Last of Us 2, as far as like it is heavily like emphasized on stealth. It's heavily emphasized on like you actually like mowing people down in like the most vicious ways possible. Like you actually get to fight people now as opposed to you just sneaking around the whole game.
Oh, well, that doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, but I mean,
I love the Stalker series. Like,
yeah, that's true. That's true. So it's like, think about like the Last of Us gameplay in that universe, and you pretty much have the sequel down, though.
All right. I mean, the only reason I don't like The Last of Us is because the storyline.
Okay, so this might be different for you then.
Yeah. Like I said, like I know the Plague Tale Requiem is different from the Plague Tale whatever it was beforehand. So like the gameplay wasn't really for me. The storyline was okay, but I kind of had a hard time playing it because it wasn't really my type of game.
Yeah.
And that's just
it was very much a stealth game. Yeah.
Well, it has a stealth game with no remorse.
Yeah, for sure.
Like no remorse whatsoever.
For sure. So
there was also, I know my buddy is interested in the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 reboot. I feel like that grave should have never been opened. Like, let those memories sit. They're there because nobody needs the fucking noob tube with 7 rounds flying across the map with the helicopter crash in the center of it again. Nobody needs that.
I'm about to drop a hot take for you.
Oh, like, come on, bring it.
I'm a person who likes Call of Duty as well, but like I will say this, like the series and like the franchise right now feels stagnant. Like I feel like they are going back to the wishing well way too many times. Like I feel like whenever in doubt, they go back to their old IPs.
Member berries.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I'm like, I feel like people might start like to bounce back. And like, I think that might start reflecting in the sales like coming up soon. Cause like, people are like a little fatigued of that like franchise right now. And I feel like, we also have another shooter. We have a lot more shooters like to compete against it now. So they're either going to have to adapt or I think they're going to like slowly plateau here. Like slowly.
I think they've already plateaued because look at Warzone. Warzone is still popular, but Warzone is horribly broken and been broken for a long time. I remember first playing Warzone going, this is the best battle royale I've ever played. I will admit it. It had issues, but I loved it. And then what happened? Like, I feel like it went to college and came back just crazy. Like,
Yeah. Now you have Godzilla and King Kong and Samuel Jackson in the game. So
they're trying to do Fortnite. That's all it
they
is.
are.
Like, they're trying really hard to be Fortnite.
They really are.
And you're trying to clone something you never were. Like,
No, for sure not.
Although Apex Legends did take the option to revive your teammates back in. Like, that was such a huge thing that like everyone did it then because of how popular it was. Good or bad,
Apex,
whatever.
Apex, for better or for worse, like has a leg up, I think, in like the shooter platform, because it was like built off of everything that came from it, from what's the series? Yeah, Timefall. So I'm like, in Timefall 2. So I'm like, I think that like Apex feels a little tighter than both of those games as far as like gameplay wise, but I don't necessarily know where the shooter landscape is going to go, because I think, you do have like a couple of mainstays here and there, but you also have like some of these series like fumbling. Like, like Call of Duty feels like it's like fumbling right now. Like it's trying to find itself again.
Yeah. Yeah. So it needs to take a spiritual retreat, not make a game for 4 years. Yeah, we'll say 4 years. Just enter some number in there. And then come out with a new game that has a good storyline to it, and you'll win. Like, that's just it. Like, people love the Call of Duty franchise. It's just a matter of how do you get it there?
I'm gonna be honest, like this is what Assassin's Creed did. Like, they took a couple of years off and then they came out with like Origins. And it helped the franchise. Like, it felt like it was a fresh franchise after that. Oh, sorry, excuse me.
Okay. There's no hold bar here. I don't care. But no, if Call of Duty really wants to make a win, I think they need to take some time off. They need to assess what they do right, assess what they do wrong, and not do what they do wrong again.
Yeah,
I really do. Because if they came out with just a straight, I almost want to say team deathmatch kind of thing, but they did that with, was it Infinity War or one of the releases they did? It didn't hit the wall very well because everyone's like, no, we actually like the storylines with these. We prefer having some kind of storyline with it. And then they tried to do, was it Ground War, where they added vehicles into it? Yeah. Like, all right, you're trying too hard to be Battlefield at this point. Yeah, for sure. Which we can go on and on about 2042?
2042.
Oh my God. I looked at it the first time, I'm like, this looks great. Why is there a tornado there?
Yeah, that felt
what
like
happened?
I feel like there's a lot of good ideas there, but I don't quite feel like the storm mechanic, add anything to the game. No. So no, they went in a like a completely different direction, and maybe a direction they never should have thought of to begin with. But
I do enjoy how they could bring in all the assets from other games into a game. That was great. I really thought that was a highlight moment, but you're not able to do that in like an actual server, like, I guess because they're all server based stuff. Yeah, really hurt them. I think, like, look at this great thing, watch it go away. Like, that's not what we wanted.
No, for sure not. So is there any other games in October that are striking you, like, that are like piquing your interest? Because I think like the most controversial game on that, like in this month at least, is going to be Gotham Knights.
So this is going to hurt you personally, because as a nerd, I don't care for Batman.
What? At all?
At all. I don't care for Batman at all.
Damn.
I think a lot of superheroes are overdone because of namesake.
Damn.
There hasn't been an interesting Batman or superhero in like the last 12 years.
Okay. So you're not interested in like any of the superhero games at all?
Not at all.
Okay. So we'll skip that one, but I will say that game, like, because what I was going to say is like that game is like going to be controversial if it becomes like the next Marvel's Avengers, and the fact that like we won't. Yeah, like most people who are interested in that like IP, and we want that game to be more like like Batman Arkham's, like the Arkham games, and this
Right.
is more like the the Avenger style, to where it's like heavily emphasizing like the multiplayer, like and the loot box aspects. So it almost feels like Marvel's Avengers with like a Batman skin on it. So that was just like the stuff I was going to bring up for that one.
Looks like a sellout game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, look, Arkham Knight was good. I really enjoyed Arkham Knight, but it's hard to attract me to a superhero game because I'm just like, why?
If you're not interested in that like genre, then it's,
right.
Yeah, that's not for you then. But like, do you actually think like Bayonetta 3 is coming out this year?
No,
I don't. They just showed like clips of it like recently, but I would be shocked if Bayonetta and Splatoon like hit the date of coming out this year.
I don't see it happening because so Nintendo World Japan, the Japan side of things, they are kind of being pressured to pay more in taxes because of how much they make in America, and because the Nintendo USA doesn't pay Nintendo Japan the equal share that they should. So Japan is saying, the government of Japan is saying, Nintendo USA, you have to pay us more. And so that's going to cut into a lot of the funding for development and whatnot, if that goes through. I haven't heard the update on it. That was a couple months ago. As far as I know, they're still in talks. But if it does go through, Nintendo USA is queued to pay somewhere in the low billion in like extra revenue to Japan. And it's like, that's really going to hurt a lot of their game developers.
So do you think that'll like delay some of these like games that are already like, poised to release though? Because I feel like Bayonetta's very close.
I think Splatoon might come out in November, maybe early December, but I don't think Bayonetta 3 is going to hit until 2023.
Okay. I can see that. I can see that going both ways.
Right.
Speaking of Nintendo, you do have Pokemon in like November right here, Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I don't think there's no chance in hell that doesn't hit that date though. Like the Pokemon company is notorious for like making dates.
Well, that's their flagship. They got to do it.
Yeah.
But the thing with Pokemon games, as of lately, they've been really lackluster almost.
Oh, for sure. I think that
seem to have
you talk about franchises that need like an adrenaline shot. I think Pokemon is right there.
Well, okay. I don't know why. I've said this for a long time, but Nintendo needs to bring out a game of the year or game of 10-year cycle. They need to have a game where you start off in the Kanto region and you go all the way through the 5 different regions.
That'd be dope.
Exactly. And then it's like, fill the Pokedex of 1,000 characters. Go for it.
They won't do that because like that would just be the ultimate game, and they would never be able to like, do that cash cow all over again. Like they would have to, they would never want to like do that. But like, I think that's where we like what we want. We want a game that's like Pokemon meets Breath of the Wild. And we wanted to, we really do. Yeah. We really do. We want like a Breath of the Wild, like reinvigoration of like the Pokemon series. Yeah. And I think we really do want that like competitive aspect of like you having to basically grind out all the like the leagues, like the leagues that whatever Ash did in like the animes, like those all are the his adventure. Be able to like to go on. And
I still want to name my rival Dickface.
That would be fun. That would be fun. And I think that modernizes Pokemon in like the the 2020s and versus where it's been in the same place since Pokemon Yellow, Red, and Blue. Yeah. Let's be honest. Like there's been small innovations here and there, like Pokemon Arceus, for people who are like yelling at us right now. They're like, they're trying. I'm like, they're really not. That felt like a half measure. That felt like it was moving more so like it was Pokemon Go meets like the regular Pokemon series. It's just like you took out all the core battling, you made that super easy, and you made it like super. You made a huge emphasis on collecting Pokemon at that point. And
do you remember Let's Go Pikachu?
Yeah. I prefer not to remember it, but yeah, but I remember that game.
Yeah, I bought Let's Go Eevee. I played it for like 5 minutes. Like, I want my money back.
No, I
This is
understand because
terrible.
it's completely terrible. It takes all the fun of what makes Pokemon great to me and just dumbs it down to super baby mode.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wasn't there no there wasn't there like an MMO Pokemon game that wasn't Pokemon? I think was it Ninja? I think Ninja was playing it for a little bit.
I'm unfamiliar.
Man, how the hell am I gonna type this in? Pokemon that's not Pokemon MMO. I'm gonna look the Pokemon MMO. I don't think there's Poke MMO. What the hell is this? This it? No, that can't be it. God. Pokemon style MMO. I'm gonna look this MMORPG. I think it's called Doke V. Is that it? Doke V. Never mind. Game got canceled. Okay. So Doke V was an Pokemon style game made by the developers from Black Desert. And it looks like they canceled it due to a lawsuit from Nintendo.
That makes sense. Nintendo is like very stringent on like their IPs and anything that like resembles it. So,
oh, here I think this is it. Temtem, TEMTEM.
Oh, the franchise, Tim.
Yeah, they made an MMO.
I'm aware of it. I've never actually played it, but I'm
Neither
like aware of the IP.
I've seen people play it, and it looks like how we won a game. It's you can choose to battle and trade with anybody that you meet. You don't have to lock eyes with players to fight them. Like you have to accept a duel, which is good. Which is good. For sure. But the NPC is not so much. Like you still got to fight them.
Yeah.
But if I guess in the game, if you have too many overwhelming victories, like you have a level 45. No, you have a level 45 and you're like in a level 12 area. And if you beat 2 of them in a row flawlessly, the rest of the trainers will be like, I don't see you. Like, oh, wow. They just don't even acknowledge you.
That is funny.
We just saw you whip this guy's ass. We are not trying.
That's a realistic take on it.
Oh, yeah.
Though. I like that.
Like, I like that a lot. Bother me, peasant.
That is funny. So in November, like we also have God of War Ragnarok, which I think just hot take here, another hot take, game of the year for this year. God of War Ragnarok is going to be Elden Ring.
Isn't that the continuation from the last God of War?
Yeah, God of War 2018. Yeah.
Boy.
Yes, exactly. That's what a lot of people remember that game. But like that game is phenomenal. It has a really good storyline. It's really well paced. The action is fun.
I never played it, but I watched somebody play it all the way through. And I absolutely love the fact that it's one camera. It never shifted off the one camera.
For sure. It is amazing the way Corey Barlog and that team did that game. Like I think that game is utterly perfection. Like, and I would recommend that to you. If you haven't played it, play it on PC and like check it out.
It felt like it should have won cinematic game of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like for just the graphics, the style, everything about it was solid. It was a great game to just even watch. Like
that game, I think is so good that like it was the only thing that beat Red Dead Redemption in the year it came out. And I think that's an accomplishment all of its own.
Well, yeah, I mean, you've got Rockstar's money and you beat them.
Yeah, for sure.
That says a lot. Speaking of which, Red Dead Online, I guess, shut down. Or debating on shutting down.
Yeah, they moved like the production team away from the Red Dead Studios in order to fully focus on Grand Theft Auto now. And they're going to fully focus on Grand Theft Auto 6 is what they're said.
Which is about time.
Yeah, I was about to say.
About fucking time.
Yeah, I was about to say we had Grand Theft Auto 5 since the 360 and PS3 generation. So
I say it was 2009 when Grand Theft Auto 5 came out. Yeah. Because I just graduated high school.
Yeah, same here. So I'm like, yeah. It has been forever since we got that game.
Yeah.
Like absolutely forever. So I am amazed that it's taken this long for that game made almost what like $1 billion in its first 2 days.
Several billion
Yeah.
dollars.
So I'm like, why did you take this long? And then you did the bullshit, and when you remastered like the old games and you did a crappy job doing that, and you made them look cartoony as hell.
And then you got yelled at for being like a casino because of how many microtransactions with the shark cards and whatnot. So what do? You put a real casino in.
Yeah, for sure.
Like that was the biggest middle finger.
It really is. It really is. You kind of almost have to respect it in a way.
Rockstar gives no fucks.
Yeah, they really don't.
We work on our own timeline.
They really don't. So yeah, God of War Ragnarok is one thing one game I think is like going to be either game of the year or runner up. So it's either Elden Ring or God of War.
I think you're right. To be honest, I really do think you're right. But something reminds me of this. I don't know why I talk about Grand Theft Auto. Did you know Tesla's computer program to be able to read the road was based off of the driving mechanics for the NPCs in Grand Theft Auto?
No, I didn't know it was based off of that. That's funny.
They bought the services for it to test with the Teslas, and so the auto drive feature is the NPCs from Grand Theft Auto. I remember hearing
name it NPC.
I remember seeing that the first time, like, oh, so they're gonna run people over randomly.
That is. That's amazing. That'd be fun.
I see a lot of games here on the to be announced.
After December. To be announced, we don't have like dates for them like exactly, but like supposedly a lot of these games are like rumored to come out in 2022, but like some of them are like actually going to come out. I know like Arcade Again is going to be like a free like PlayStation Plus game for August. So the Avatar like game, the Frontiers of Pandora, is obviously going to be a pushback. That one. But I think they're trying their damnedest to hit December for that game because they want to like market it with the movie. So I'm not the biggest fan of horror games. If anyone's watched any of my streams, when I played Plasmophobia, I was a truck bitch. All right. I never left the fucking van. I hate those games. But I made it through all of Dead Space, and the Castile Protocol looks a lot like Dead Space. And it kind of, from what I've heard, a lot of people have been saying, like, this is what we want. We want Dead Space to come back alive this way. And Callisto Protocol was like created by like a lot of the same team from the original Dead Space team. So I think you're going to get a lot of that DNA based on like the 2 cinematic and gameplay trailers that we got around like Summer Game Fest. Yeah. But I think the interesting thing about like Callisto Protocol is like this and the Dead Space remake come out within like 4 weeks of each other. Dead Space comes out in January in 2023. So I'm like, and Callisto Protocol is just like 4 weeks before it. So I'm like, they're almost neck and neck, and they're the exact same game almost.
Right. They have one chance to get it right. Otherwise, they're going to be known as a disappointment.
Yeah. So I'm like, or you can like you can be the talk of the town. Like, So I'm like, you can steal the thunder there. But like, there are a lot of games in the to be announced like section that I feel like are going to be for sure 2023. Like, there's no way like the like
Grand Theft Auto the trilogy.
No, that's
not gonna work.
No, and then you got like Dragon Age 4. It's definitely going to be next year.
Oh yeah, definitely, because BioWare took a huge hit after what was it? What was the last BioWare game that came out that flopped?
I'm trying to remember what it is now. You're talking about Andromeda, right?
Yeah, it was Andromeda, wasn't it?
Andromeda's been some years though, like Mass Effect hasn't come out in like a long time. But rumor is like they're working on Mass Effect and Dragon Age 4 simultaneously. I think that studio is going to redeem themselves though, because like
fucking better.
Yeah, for sure.
To be completely honest, like they better, because Andromeda, I was so happy for it. Like I love the Mass Effect series, but like a game without Shepard, I was like, okay, I'm ready for it. Who the fuck is this, and why are they twins?
No,
why do I care?
I do think I like I appreciate the fact that they gave us new characters, but like I think you really have to do something interesting with those new characters, because like there's a lot of potential to make like a new franchise with a new like cornerstone. Like look at Gears
Right.
of War, like like
Oh
Gears of War
yeah.
did it really well. I would argue that Metal Gear Solid is like built a foundation on multiple people being like the star of like that franchise. But like like you can do multiple like characters really well as far as like being the focal point of the series. You just gotta like tell an interesting story behind it.
Right. Yeah, that's true. And unfortunately, Andromeda's story kind of felt hollow.
No, that
Eh,
felt like an indie game studio. Not, it didn't feel like it really did. It felt like an indie game studio, and that's nothing against indie games. It's just like we expect a certain level from BioWare, and we can get
yeah,
it.
right. Gears of War 5. So I'm a huge Gears of War fan. I
Mhm.
actually have a belt in the closet behind me of a Lancer. Like,
No,
like
that's
it's got
cool.
a belt buckle Lancer. And I thought Gears of War 5 was trash. I really did.
Really?
I really did. I
Wow.
absolutely hated Gears of War 5.
Wow. Like multiplayer and like campaign, or we're just talking about campaign?
Just the campaign. The multiplayer
Oh,
is
okay.
still good, but it kind of felt like the multiplayer is The horde mode was great. Like I really loved how they revamped the horde mode. I really
So
did.
let me ask you, did you like 4?
4 was okay at best. It
Okay.
had some redeeming qualities to it,
Mhm.
but you followed the railroad track like you do, and you
Yeah.
really didn't have that many choices to it. But when 5 introduced like this groundbreaking feature where you could kill off one person or the other at the end of it, spoiler, like
Mhm.
why? That's not how Gears worked at all. You either saved both or one willingly sacrificed themselves.
Do you like the open world like introduction that they kind of introduced into the middle of the game?
Nope.
You didn't like the
No.
like
No.
ski lift kind of thing?
No.
No.
Didn't like it at all. I call me a traditionalist. I'll take it. But I liked it when you were railroaded it down. Like this is your path. Follow it.
Okay.
Like
I could see that.
think of Halo. That's
Mhm.
where I think all campaigns should have been. Was like, all right, here's Halo. Here's your path. Follow it. Halo Infinite. It felt like Far Cry. It really did. But the missions were great. But the open world aspect of it was kind of just meh. Eh.
Yeah, but that felt like it was more half baked. And like I feel
Oh,
like if they got like
filler.
to fully
Yeah.
realize like a really cool open world map to where like you got to see like a forest area, like an actual like desert area, an actual like frost area, and
Oh
an
yeah.
actual like beach kind of area. Like I
It
think
was
that game could have like been a hell of a dope like open world game, but like you either do it all the way or you don't do it at all.
right. So how I've described Halo Infinite was think of a loaf of bread, but the bottom half is styrofoam. Like that's
Mhm.
pretty much what Halo Infinite was. Like, man, this looks really good until you take a bite and you're like, what the hell? I'm missing stuff.
Yeah,
Like it had too
yeah.
much filler.
Yeah. And then it took too long to actually add additional content. Like the fact that there's no like they're just now doing the fact that they're doing like
The co-op,
the co-op, yeah.
it
The
got
co-op in the
delayed.
campaign. Yeah. Yeah, like now it's open for beta. Like now they're actually like opening it up for beta members, but like I think it took too long to introduce that. And it took too long to introduce new maps for multiplayer, and it took too long to introduce Forge.
I'll say, where's my forge?
Yeah.
Where's the forge? I was
Yeah.
promised the forge. I was promised I could build crazy custom games. I want my damn duck hunt.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. So yeah, that's one of those things to where I'm like, if you don't have enough like material when you launch the game, just delay it again. I think most of us would appreciate a delay versus like a half baked
I think
Halo game.
I'm gonna go on a limb here and talk for every gamer out there. Yes, delay
Yeah,
the game until it's ready. We will
yeah,
wait. We
yeah,
will
for
bitch
sure.
and moan about it, but we will be so much happier.
Oh yeah, for
It's
sure. And
it's
then
like a
give us
kid
camp.
going to a doctor. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
delay the
wanna.
game, then give us everything we actually expect out of a Halo's like game. So
Yeah,
like, yeah, I think that it was one of those cases to where like they couldn't delay it any further. Like for some reason, they just couldn't do it, and They were like, okay, the game itself is ready. Everyone will be okay with waiting for like piecemeal pieces of like the rest of the game. And we're not.
Well, that's that live service bullshit.
Yeah.
That's all there is to it. It's just the live service aspect of games that's a cancer on games now. It really is. I really hope there is no more live service ever.
I hope so, but we're not. We're not going in that direction right now.
Hold on, what is this? Gungrave Gore game. I did not see this coming. Did you ever watch the Gungrave anime?
Yeah.
That this is based off of it, I guess. And it kind of looks like it looks interesting for sure, but I don't know how I feel about watching and playing that game again, or just that anime in general. The anime is solid and it made me cry and I hate it for it. But
yeah,
how do you make that into a game?
I think, you know, like you make it into a platinum ass kind of platinum game, and then you kind of like add a little bit of like Devil May Cry elements into it. And
that's what it looks like.
Yeah. And that's kind of the direction you have to go with that kind of IP. But other than that, I don't think you can actually do anything with that IP and it be like successful.
Right. It seems like a standalone game by itself anyways.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully that has a solid campaign around it, some kick-ass gameplay. And I think the best you can hope for is like a 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 kind of game. And if you get that, you actually got a pretty good game out of that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, the storyline's there. It's already written for you. It's a really good storyline. Anybody who hasn't watched it, I highly recommend you watch it. It makes you really think about your choices in life. It really does.
For sure. For sure.
I will never forget this when he gets sold to the gambling collector guy. He's working for the telephone. Like, you got to answer the phone in like a heartfelt, demeaning manner. And he's like, "Good afternoon." Like, what? That's not how you do that.
No, it was almost like a smooth voice more so than a heartfelt like kind of way. I liked it. I think you know, that is going to be interesting. Like, I think that's a game that might come and go, but it might have like a couple of months of staying power. Right. But I think like a couple of games that is going to come out, like you got Skull and Bones that we were talking about earlier, like that is actually scheduled to come out, but it's probably going to die, you know, like really quickly because it's coming out 2 days before God of War.
Yeah, I'll probably be playing Skull and Bones. I probably will. I've been waiting this game's too long not to play it, because I mean, Sea of Thieves was great after they added all the content to it. Like, it kind of like a No Man's Sky scenario.
Yeah,
like
for sure. It got better the year 5, basically.
Oh yeah. And I'm one of the weird OGs who got Pirate Legend before all this easy shit came around. Like, oh, why did I do that?
So if you're into that sort of thing, I think Skull and Bones is going to be like a really cool game, except like the fact that you can't like roam around on your 2 feet, except when you're in your like player hub, is going to like completely take a lot of people out of that. But
allegedly you're able to customize your ship any way you want.
Yeah, for sure.
Which makes me think like, oh, okay, cool. I want 2 giant tusks on the front of the ship, and I'm gonna ram everything else.
Yeah,
and them.
I do think that, and the fact that like you do have to like keep your crew happy, you actually have that aspect of it, is going to appeal to a lot of people. But I question whether or not that's going to have like state power, because like this strikes me a lot of like Riders Republic from Ubisoft as well, where it came out, it lit the game on fire, like the gaming world on fire, and then it like completely went away before like 2 months was up.
Remember Rage 2?
Yeah.
Nobody remembers Rage 2.
No, it's been on Game Pass for so long, and I think a lot of people are just like, oh, it's always there in case I want to go back to it, and they'll never go back to it.
It was a Borderlands ripoff. That's all.
It really was. It really was. And it wasn't quite as fun as Borderlands.
No, and all the humor in it was kind of dry. Like,
it really was.
It rung hollow almost, like missed its mark.
It really did. I think if that game would have came out before Borderlands, like it would have had all the momentum in the world, but
it would have slaughtered.
Oh, for sure. For sure. But no, after you got like 4 Borderlands games and then now Tiny Tina on top of everything, like that's not going to do anything.
How'd you like Tiny Tina's?
I like that
face
fantasy.
said it all. Face said it all.
I like the fantasy aspect of it, but I didn't necessarily think like it did anything different from like Borderlands, and
Yeah,
I felt like it was
no.
just more Borderlands. And at this point, I it's a me thing. Like I'm kind of over that franchise.
No, you're exactly right. Like
Mhm.
everyone played it and nobody played it afterwards. Like,
No,
oh, I have to grind for better gear. Done.
I'm out.
Like,
I'm out.
especially if you have to go to the arena every time. It's like, I'm just not doing that anymore.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, if they would have came out with interesting classes or, did things differently, I really don't like the fact like, oh yeah, you can, separate cross class or whatnot with that game. Why? It didn't make my character any stronger.
No,
It's
no,
just horribly balanced, I think.
it really is. And even if it was balanced well, it didn't do enough to like differentiate itself from like
Right.
other Borderlands games or like Destiny for that matter. So
I think if they would have added in almost a, how do I word it? If they would have added in like a game master position to where
mhm,
one player was voted in as the game master and
that'd
they
be
could
fun.
choose like what to throw at the players and had like limited power ups to throw at them, that would have changed the whole end game completely because then your friends are still there playing while
Yeah.
trying to beat the game master.
That would have been a fun component, but like without that, it just feels more of the same. So I'm like, I
Exactly.
don't necessarily know where like Gearbox goes in the future, but I
I
don't
think
necessarily think it's this direction still.
I think a lot of companies need to take a page out of the nothing ventured, nothing gained handbook.
Hmm.
Make a step towards something different.
Yeah,
And I'm going to
yeah.
reference Halo for this because ODST, nothing like
That's
Halo was
no.
ever like ODST. And that game is still one of the most highly recommended games out there, right up there with Reach.
I think one of the better like examples of that in recent like gaming memory would have to be like Guerrilla Games, where they were making like Killzone games for the
Oh,
longest, which was
yeah.
PlayStation's version of like,
Yeah.
like basically like kind of like Halo, like Call of Duty kind of esque kind of games. And then they switched and they made like Horizon. And I think everyone's in love with the Horizon games. Sucker Punch did the same thing with Ghost of Tsushima recently. Like
Isn't
never made anything like it. And now they're just making that kind of game.
so there's a company Playground Games that makes the
Mhm,
Forza games. They're doing the
mhm.
Fable this year,
Yeah,
right?
I think that's a really good switch up. I don't think Fable hits until like 2023 though.
Probably not. I
Or
mean, to be
maybe even
honest,
2024 because like in that like press conference that Microsoft did, they did like the next 12 months is what they advertised for that conference,
right.
and Fable didn't come up. So I don't think they're either that game's in early development or they're not confident that game's going to hit next year at all.
I mean, yes to both. I
Mhm.
think yes to both because they have a lot of pressure on them. Like Fable fans are very ferocious, and
Yeah.
I like the game, but I'm nowhere near as like some of these fans. Like
No,
they're
no.
really don't fuck
And
with my Fable. Is pretty much how they feel.
yeah, and then also Playground is working on like the Forza series. I think
Yep.
Forza Motorsport is supposed to come out this year. And then
Yeah.
they also just did the DLC for Forza Horizon. So I'm like, they have a lot. I know that's like multiple studios within Playgrounds, but still,
Oh
that's a
yeah.
lot for just one company.
Now with Bethesda buying so many small, or Bethesda with
Microsoft.
Xbox,
Uh-huh.
yeah, buying so many different small companies, it almost makes sense for like, hey, do you have a game coming out? No, cool. Come help Playground or come help someone else. Come
That's a
over
lot what
here.
PlayStation did. I mean, that's what they
Yeah,
did with the Spider-Man games. That's a lot of what they did with like, like The Last of Us and God of War. They like basically like, hey, do you need some help getting like the last little final like edits
right.
down? We're gonna send some help your way.
All
But
right. So one final thing before I go,
okay, what's up?
before we go, I think this game would break the internet
Mhm.
because Xbox or Microsoft owns Bethesda and Obsidian Art, Fallout New Vegas 2.
Hmm. By Obsidian or by
Collaboration.
ooh, I don't necessarily know because like they are so entrenched in doing like the Outer Worlds
I
like IP
know.
now.
That's what I'm saying. Like Fallout New Vegas was probably internet's favorite game because of
Hmm.
how everything was so smooth within reason. If they had a newer engine, say with like Outer Worlds engine, and they made a Fallout New Vegas 2 or even Fallout game collaboration like that, I feel like the internet would completely implode and just the hype alone, because Obsidian Games really doesn't like to say how to do things, but they're really good at making a decent game.
I think they're really going to be tested with their next game, Avowed.
Yes, yes, they
Avowed
are.
is really going to test like the limits of that studio. I think like we're going to see another aspect of them as well, because they've never done another like any game quite like Avowed either.
Right.
So I think that, between those two games, they have a lot on their plate. But I do agree with you. Like, if that game did drop, it would be massive, absolutely massive. It would probably be like one of the most anticipated games on the Xbox side of the fence, like for the next 4 years minimum.
Even if they dropped like a 15-second trailer and it just showed like Benny in that checkered suit, like as a remaster, that would all be they needed to see. They're like, didn't I think shoot a lot of people head?
Would. Yeah, a lot of people would prefer to see that over like Fallout 5, to be honest.
Oh, probably. New Vegas remastering? Sure. Yeah.
I mean, and that wouldn't take a whole lot. Like Obsidian wouldn't even have to like be involved if you were just remastering the game.
They could throw like a lot of low interns at it too.
Oh yeah, just, for sure. If you're just remastering it, just up-res it. That's all we need.
Yeah. And that would just absolutely destroy everything. I can already see it. Just like, you see a rad scorpion walk by, like, oh, okay, it's a Fallout game. And then you see like Benny in his checkered suit. I thought I killed you. And that's the whole trailer. Like, that would just...
I agree. Like, and I feel like Xbox needs a big game right now. I feel like they need a big win, because like we did get Forza, and Forza did win IGN's Game of the Year, but I don't think like a lot of people like still clamor for Forza right now, nor do I think like it is a racing game. It only appeals to like a select audience, like even though it is like Horizon versus like Forza Motorsport, but like Halo just dropped and no one cares right now. Like, they need a big win. When's the last like Xbox exclusive that was announced? Like an Xbox game studio game that was announced that like completely took the world on fire. Like, they need a big win right now.
Oh yeah, they do. Yeah, they really do. Anyways, we could probably go on for another 4 hours talking about games.
Yeah, for sure.
We should figure out another time to do this again, and I will try and get someone else in here with a different opinion. Because I've got a couple of friends who's got different opinions on this. But so Sebastian, where can people find you again if they made it this far into the video?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Sebastian. I go by SDM on SDM3 on all social media platforms. You can find me on the Pro Nerd Report, where we release weekly episodes of my podcast, and we have it on centered around like nerd-centric things like anime videos. Like, we have it centered around like video games and TV shows, all the dope things you love in the nerdy community. So you can find that on the Pro Nerd Report on all podcast services around the globe. So yeah, if you like what I had to say here, you'll love what I have to say on that podcast.
All right. Thank you so much, Sebastian. And we will definitely schedule another time to talk. Maybe we'll do an anime exclusive one, because
for sure,
there's so many good anime coming out right now. I hate to say it, I found another trash isekai I'm really in love with.
Well, we'll have to get into that on the next one. Thank you so much for having me.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for coming on.
All right, have a good one.
Everyone else, have a great night.